like a bag, and there was like a couple of them. There were like two red ones, a white one, and a black one, all like Target themed, and I love them.
Incredible. Incredible. And as you're coming in, if you could put your committee letters in your Zoom name.
Alrighty, we are going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5:00 p.m. And I'll go ahead and share my screen here. As always, please make sure that you are sending your ID to Karen so that you are recorded for attendance. We have no guest speakers today. Are there any questions about last week's minutes? Already seeing none. Oh, let me check the chat really quickly. Okay. Seeing none, we will move right into department reports, starting with academic affairs.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing good this Monday. So we are continuing our mental health initiative and speaking with Active Minds. Rin is kind of like our representative for that. We're waiting to hear back from Zach Gorman. Karina is our contact with him about webcams for professors. We are finishing up our list of mental health tips for studying since midterms are right around the corner. And I am planning to reach out to Barb Gaelic at the library in order to adjust the hours for the libraries, because I think that students deserve a little bit more time in the library. And I read quite a few constituency reports that also feel that same way.
Great, thank you. Moving on to campus affairs.
Hello guys. So just a quick update about the umbrella project. So our Senate board is happy with the project, so we're moving to BU Grounds and asking if they would be willing to take care of the maintenance after we do implement the project. And they seem to be happy about it, but we're yet to get the 100% confirmation. So, but for now, we're just gonna kind of finalize our budget and other criterias in order to fully move on with it. And yeah, And so Erin contacted Nathan Thomas regarding like snow days, what classifies, like what criterias do you guys like use to in order to determine, how Bradley gets snow days. And so, I mean, I have his exact answer here, but I'm just going to summarize it for you guys. So it's pretty much they don't have a set of criteria they go through. It depends on multiple factors, different variables. And so they mainly look at Peoria and national, weather service information. That's their main hub. That's where they focus on. And then from there, they look at the warnings and then try to take into consideration of professors who have to commute, faculty, students. And so yeah, they don't necessarily take into consideration just if other schools are doing it, we're gonna do it. It's more than just that. But yeah, if you want to look at his email, I pretty much have it attached to this minutes, and that's about it. Have a good week.
Great, thank you. Campus safety and community relations.
Hey everyone, so following up from last week, we got backing from the RHA board to pursue menstrual product implementation in the residence halls. So we're going to continue down this path and by contacting people who can hopefully give us the ability to actually get products installed. We are also going to focus on academic buildings so that all types of students can benefit, not just people who live in the dorms. And then 2 infographics were shared with the PR team, one covering safety pole locations and the safety poles, and the other just a casual, more fun post about the loosened restrictions from like 2 weeks ago now. That's it.
Great, thank you. Diversity and inclusion.
I this week reached out to various organizations across campus to increase more of a connectivity. So if any issues regarding diversity and inclusion arise, that then they would have an easier gateway to inform me of them. And also with Elijah and my committee, I've been working on a calendar of unrecognized holidays. And for the first one, which is Rare Disease Day, which is this coming Sunday, I shared a post with PR about that.
Great, thank you. Internal affairs.
All right, so next week is officially the first mandatory, or one of the two, both mandatory meetings are next week. So if you're interested in running for SBO or just for a senator, make sure you come to either of these meetings. You don't have to come to both. As long as you make it to one, you'll have met the requirement to run. Also today, we're gonna be voting on bringing, what is it? It's a split, sorry guys. On allowing us to split into 2 groups for cabinet. We'll talk about it more in new business.
Great, thank you. Public relations. It doesn't look like there's a report there. Moving into student body executive reports, starting with Director of Administration, Brandy Wayne.
Hi everyone, happy Monday. I have a request from SABRC to do certain things that I would like us to review in new business. I could talk about it right now, but this is more of an overview report. We'll talk about more new business, but essentially SABRC every year is tasked to spend remaining money that we use for the good of the student body. And I want to talk a little bit more about what you all like to see on campus. I'll get more into it in new business. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Chief of Staff, Ellie Hawkins.
Hey guys, I'd emailed you last week about possibly joining DI and just wanted to reiterate the opportunity because we'd really like you guys to at least attend like one meeting. You can still remain in your committee. You don't have to just like leave your committee to join DI, but we'd really appreciate it because we need more people.
Great, thank you. Moving on to President of the Student Body, Emma Hoytia.
All right, so first question. This was by a suggestion from Tom. So thank you, Tom. But could I just hear from you guys? What do you think? So last semester, biggest focus was kind of, pass fail. That was our big push. Do you guys think in your heads, what should be our big focus? What is the biggest issue on campus this semester? Anybody's open to sharing what they think about this semester.
I guess I'll just go. I think one of the things that we saw is, yes, Bradley, like loosen the restrictions, but the way they do things is very still, I guess, a particular way. So maybe if there was a way for them to, I don't know, streamline that or just make it a little bit more better. I don't know if that's like the right way to say it, but
we could push for focus. I think a lot of the issues we're having is issues of transparency and openness about the decisions they're making. So maybe it should be a push for transparency in decision making, even if they're going to make the decisions ultimately. I mean, we'd like to at least know what went into the thought process.
I like that. Thank you.
I'll add just broadly, I think the return to normalcy, just because Bradley has given us a timeline of when they expect student activities to resume as they once were, whatever that will mean. But we have a timeline for that. So I think that's something.
Very good point. Thank you. Anybody else have any thoughts? Well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Wait,
yeah.
Just with AJ's point, and I submitted it in my constituency report. I was wondering on the lines of transparency as well. I don't know what their plan is because their current plan is to have us in person next semester. I don't know what that means for the students that still don't feel comfortable coming back full time, or will they be delayed because they wanted to be safe? And what is the impacts of that kind of decision making?
Thank you. That's a very good point.
I was just gonna I was just going to suggest, just because I had a friend from another school, he was already kind of gearing up for his study abroad. And I know that's kind of a huge question, and there's kind of a lot of uncertainty about it. So, just getting more definite answers, or just, talking through the process of what needs to happen in order for us to kind of continue the study abroad programs at least.
Thank you. I definitely agree. I think all of these things kind of fall under that transparency idea, because one big thing for me personally, and I'm assuming all of you, is that I feel like in Senate, we push so hard for certain things, and the administration might be getting better at listening, but the actual action and, transparency are the biggest, things that we're dealing with now. So thank you. So I talked a lot about the Missouri Valley Coalition, met with some of those leaders, and what we kind of decided was, first of all of us, we're at the end of our terms. So my timing was off for sure. But I'll just suggest that with the new slate of just Senate in general, that we push for creating some sort of coalition in another form, even if it's not the MVC, because Missouri Valley is the only reason that we're tied together is sports. And for most of us, sports aren't even kind of the main, a main pillar in our culture kind of thing. So my suggestion would be some sort of private colleges of Illinois, or anybody in an immediate area, and create something along those lines. So we'll keep that in mind to pass on to the next administration. The Diversity Advisory Committee was put together over the summer, and they, came up with their slate of suggestions, which is published on the university's website under strategic planning, I believe, which they don't plan on sending it out to the entire student body. They just plan on keeping it published there with all of the Diversity Advisory Committee's suggestions. The biggest suggestion that they had was to create a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion that's a direct report to the president. And they are, I didn't know it was going to go this fast, but they're moving forward with it within like a month. So they are doing it as an open, they're going to open up the application to anybody, you know, outside of the university. There was mention in the meeting today. Today was the, you know, update meeting with new information from the president. And there was mention of, can we basically offer it to someone internal? And I'm sure anybody could kind of guess who they wanted to promote internally from Bradley, but it will be opened to anybody. His mentality on that is that if they want to find the best person, and if that best person is from Bradley, then they want to make sure that they're chosen because they, you know, deserve it, and that they're going to do the best job, and that they are, you know, the best candidate. Which I think this is extremely exciting. There's a lot that could go wrong, but I think that as a student body, we can push for this to be a very beneficial and incredible addition to the university. A joint cabinet meeting will be happening March 3rd or March 10th. That doesn't affect any of you guys directly, but this will be a very exciting, you know, contact for our cabinet to have with the administration's like kind of presidential, what do they call it? All the VPs, senior leadership team, that's what he calls it. And then I'm meeting with President Standiford tomorrow about Speak Up and joint cabinet as well, but I'll have an update for you next week.
Great, thank you. Moving into advisory reports with Advisor Coy.
Hey, y'all, I'm going to hit on some things that were talked about real quick just to give some context on a couple things. AJ, just with that menstrual product report, just so you could know and kind of can check into this, we did install 3 units into the gender neutral bathrooms last year. There's one in Westlake, one in GCC, and one in Markin. It was decided not to do them in the residence hall because all students did not have access to residence halls. And also they were used in gender neutral bathrooms so that people of all gender identities could be available to get them. The one thing that I will state, just so you have the awareness as you move forward, Custodia was not able to do the refilling of them. So right now my staffing is the one that goes around and refills the gender neutral bathrooms, the actual amp flow containers and everything of that sort. So that's something that we do. And Ann Hollis was a key leader on that, as well as Emily Panich, if you want more information on that. And Brandon, you were asking a little bit about study abroad. At this time, initially, we haven't announced plans on study abroad, but the thought is at the earliest, we're talking about J-term. There's still things with opening of borders, extended visas for other countries and everything, and that's where we're looking. There will be a statement coming out on that shortly, so that information will be coming out, but it's really kind of depending with the phasing, and that also is applying to the Hollywood semesters and other internships that are in the States that are domestic abroad, so to speak. In my actual report, one of the primary item that I wanted to highlight is the new Teletalk outreach that's occurring. That's a new, I won't say counseling option, but it's a option for any student to get a 20-minute quick session with a counselor. They're starting it initially with every Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m., beginning February 25th. And it's just a chance to talk for 20 minutes about minor problems, anything. It's not for ongoing counseling, but it's basically a touch base or event session for students. It's pretty interesting. So all the details are in the Hilltop Happening. So I'll just share that. And that's coming out of Student Support Services and Emily Panich. And then I just put 2 notes on there. One is that Late Night View is this Friday. It is a reservation process. So for upperclassmen, this will be different for you, that you can come and book for 1 hour that you can attend. But then the entire space is shut down, flipped over, cleaned, and then the next phase of students can come. Students can only come for 1 hour at a time, and any student can sign themselves and 3 friends up to come in one time slot. And then importantly for a lot of people, tomorrow is the job fair. And if you haven't kind of made steps on that already for your summer job plans and stuff, I'd suggest that's how you spend your evening. But the job and internship fairs tomorrow, we have great employer numbers coming in, and it's all done virtually through Handshake. I did include the link in there as well, just to get you in there. But if you haven't looked around and navigated Handshake, I recommend you do that this evening so that you can go in and are prepared tomorrow. Those are the updates that I had, so I'll turn it back to you, David.
Great, thank you. Are there any constituency reports? And remember, you'll state your name and of course your constituency, and then proceed from there.
Hi, this is Andrew Green. I'm an at-large senator. I just wanted a minor heads up that I noticed a couple of the vending machines on campus were cash only, like they'd been knocked off the network. I've noticed it in Bradley Hall's basement and the 3rd floor of the new business building. The machine was down. And I didn't know who to report it to, so I figured this would be a good place.
I'm going to suggest CA.
For CA, if you guys just want to send an email, that goes to Mona Hutchinson, or Ramona Hutchinson is her name. So you can send her an email to make her aware of that and see if she has any information. You can find her through Bradley directory. But it's Ramona Hutchinson, and she's the one who runs the Quick Cash, but she's the one who does the vending and the networking.
Great, thank you. Also a note, this could go to CA or DI, but I've heard that the elevator in the parking garage has been non-operational for at least 2 weeks. So if someone could look into that and see how that, works. Any other constituency reports?
I'm Hemo, and I'm an at-large center, my bad. But I think this would also go with campus affairs. But basically people are like, oh, can you expand more hours at Markin, or is there a way to spread out more people on Markin? Because what happens is they only have a limit on the second floor of 33 people, and at 12 p.m. on this is for the weekends, on 12 p.m. on Sundays, it'll open and there already be 33 people, and then you have to wait until people are gone, basically.
Great, thank you. Any other last constituency reports?
Jamal, just to follow up with that, what was the last thing that you said about the idea of expanding the hours? What was the issue?
Oh yeah, sorry. So on the weekends, usually I think on Fridays and Saturdays they close at 7, but on Saturdays they open at 12. And what happens is people will usually come in at the very beginning of the when it opens up at 12, because it's a Saturday, and the second floor tends to be very packed at that time, and then you just have to wait until there's less people because of code regulations. So
so potentially expanding the opening time on the weekend from 12 p.m. to an earlier time. Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Great. We have no unfinished business, but we do have some new business, and I'll turn the first item over to Brandy.
All right, great. Thanks, David. Very quickly, I wanted to talk about this new business, as I didn't want to have an opening during my report about us brainstorming some ideas. So I want to use the new business time to do so. So typically, if you don't know what SABRC is the Student Activities Budget Review Committee, where they allocate money to organizations that want to host events or give merchandise. For example, like Rise of the Red is funded by SABRC. Cameron also sits on this committee. I am the president of it. So every year there is typically a remaining of money that remains after each fiscal year. And so SABRC as a board comes up with different ways on how we could spend that money for the betterment of the student body. Previous years, we've spent that money to furnish certain things like in a student in the furniture, plastic covers of announcements to put in like restrooms and things like that. Anything that we believe that can help the betterment of the student body, but doesn't constantly need renovation. So something like if we wanted to have recycling bins, right? Who would collect that, right? So things that we could fund that would be there for a while. We don't have to continue to renovate it, update it, or give funding, because our funding could change every year, or it does. So I want to use this time, if you all have any ideas on how ways we can improve campus. So this can be anything from TVs, right? I doubt we need more TVs, but it could be TVs, more TVs in the student center. Can be as small as, I don't know, any ideas that you all have that you have seen campus lacking in a certain ways that you think SABRC can fund. I am opening up the floor to that.
So I had an idea. I don't know how feasible it is, but I'll go ahead and say it. So I had somebody who was talking to me about green cups or reusable cups that you can purchase for $5 at the beginning of the year and then return and get your deposit back at the end of the year. And basically the idea is that every student uses 300 cups, plastic cups every year and throws them out. I talked to administration about this, about adding that to the student fee, and they were hesitant to do that. So this is something that maybe we could put towards that, so students wouldn't have to purchase it, but it would still make it so we're reducing our net carbon emissions.
So just like a cup about like a coffee reusable cup, a water bottle reusable cup.
Yeah, I think it's like a reusable coffee cup sort of thing.
Okay. I most definitely put that down. Don't know the possibility of that happening since COVID. And if it were to happen, SABRC would simply just supply it, wouldn't charge a student for it. But I like your idea. Thank you, Aaron.
I have an idea of, well, first I'm going to second Ani's idea that he threw in the chat of some new equipment and marketing, like basketballs. And then the other thing that I had was maybe like a comprehensive or easy to access map for the new building. Like when you walk in, it's super complicated. I think it could get a lot of use from especially like freshmen and people that have never been in there before. Something like, by the front, just something easy to access.
Like a paper map that people can grab and go with it?
Yeah, that would be good. Maybe something that you could like attach to the wall that's like a little bit bigger than those paper things, like the fire escape maps, I guess, for lack of a better term, if you know what I'm talking about. Like those are on the wall, but you have to like really squint to see them, and it's not really best for navigating. So maybe like a blown up version of the maps of each classroom with the purpose of walking to class, not like for fire escape reasons or for fire safety. Something easier to read.
And honestly, that's like applicable to a lot of places. Like personally, Bradley Hall has always been an absolute maze for me. But totally agree with AJ's, but like in the back, there's those like signs that like have the arrows, and I get it, but at the same time, it's not a very intuitive place to be. So I like the idea of maybe less so the the like grab and go paper, but like some sort of, wall mounted, easy to read, super large. So you don't, like he said, don't have to squint.
Do you find the digital maps helpful in the back center at all?
I personally haven't utilized those, no, but I'm not saying that they're good or bad.
I haven't used them either. No. What do you even? What are the virtual?
They're big screens, like they have some malls have them too, where like it'll show you where you are in the building, and then you can select a destination to where you need to get to.
So it's exactly what you're saying, AJ, except it's a digital screen, and everyone can walk up to it.
I didn't even know that was there. Where is that?
Yeah,
it's right in the lobby.
Yep, there's one in the lobby, and then I think there's one on each floor.
Perfect. Well, I stand corrected. I guess we're doing a good job.
I don't necessarily know the budget in general that's in mind, but I think if there was more, and you could do it a couple of different ways, seating in regards to the 2 quads, and the fact that if you have a hammock, then you're set, or you can sit on a bench. But if there were a picnic table, or picnic tables that weren't necessarily, so there's picnic tables on the backside of Markin. Well, they're not really, they're kind of picnicky, but if they had something like that you wouldn't necessarily have to worry as much about upkeep, but something where students could work outside without having to necessarily lay on the ground. Because I know you have chairs, but it's a lot easier when you have an actual work surface that you could do. Even if they were where you could check them out, because I know they make ones that you can set up and that are very easy to transport. Even if they had it to where you could check it out in Markin or in one of those buildings, I think that those could be very helpful, especially in regards to not just studying, but if different organizations could kind of check them out or rent them as well for their events, then I think that those could be very useful for campus.
It's a good idea. I think if the board likes it and our advisor, I think that would be a very beneficial idea for campus. I think it falls perfectly in our budget as well. Any other ideas? Uh-oh. Absolutely anything. Some ideas or some things that SABRC has also funded in previous semesters have been the improvements to the sound system of Markin's Performance Court, smaller things like that. Long-term equipment could also be used, like sound systems, if I wanted to rent that out as well. If there's none, and if you want to personally chat me about it, I'll be completely fine, but these are amazing ideas, guys, so thank you very much.
All right, and then I'll take the next new business item. So basically our cabinet, we're all very busy people and are having a hard time finding one single time where we all meet together. In the Constitution, it says that we need to have a weekly cabinet meeting to remain constitutional, but it is kind of permissible if you guys vote to allow us to split into 2 groups, then that would then remain constitutional as long as you guys give us that ability. So what we are offering is, instead of one big group cabinet meeting, we would have a group that has CA, CSCR, DI, and AA led by Ellie and I, but then open to all SBOs if we, find the time for it. And then a separate meeting for PR and IA. This is just kind of this is the natural split in kind of our structure. So are there any questions about that? Or any?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So like I'm part of PR. So are you guys having it so it'd be like 2 days? There'd be 2 different meetings. Like one meeting would be on like a Monday and like one meeting would be on Wednesday, or would it be like 1 week this section is meeting, the following week this session's meeting?
So this actually would not affect GA in any way. We as a cabinet have our own cabinet meeting separate
Oh.
from this to like do planning. So this wouldn't affect any of you guys at all. This truly is just for, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 of us to meet together. So it doesn't affect you or your committee, just affects us in the way that we meet.
Yeah, we just need your consent to do that as the Senate. We need your consent.
So any other questions about that? Thank you, Hamal. All right, can I motion to enter executive session to vote?
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion has been seconded. We will now enter executive session, meaning that all members of the public will be directed out of the room.
Oh, I need to do that as well. Just give me 1 second. Okay, do we have any public members?
I know we usually have a member of the Scout.
I don't think I saw his name though.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's here today.
All right, then I'm just going to open up the poll.
And make sure that you stop the recording in case anybody has any debate. If performers on the team will perform, and that starts at 6 p.m. And you can go to our page, Bradley Speech on Instagram, to get the Zoom link. So I will be performing, and as well as some other members of the team. So we would love to see you there.
Do you mind me asking who else is going to perform?
Yes, it'll be me, Joshua Beckles, Halima Nala, and one of our freshmen, Joseph Cyrus.
You guys, this is my favorite event at Bradley of the entire year. Come watch with me and we can cry together.
You said go to the Instagram for details about it?
Yeah, for the link. It starts at 6 p.m. on Thursday. Any other announcements?
Yes, I have pardon me, I have an announcement. On Thursday night at 8:30 p.m., Jewish Bradley Chabad is going to be putting on a Purim event at the Alpha Epsilon Pi House. The event has been registered with the school, and if anybody would like to attend, if you celebrate Purim, there's a link on Facebook at the Jewish Bradley Chabad, or you can go on Presence and fill out the registration link.
Great, thank you. Any other announcements?
Landon, can you send me the name of that organization? I don't want to butcher it.
Sure.
Chabad. I think I spelled it weirdly.
Yeah.
Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion has been seconded. We stand adjourned at 5:37 p.m.